Let's get him. Oh dear. You know what? I'm gonna jump out. What? How did I not take any damage? The AI is not showing itself to be that smart at the moment. Okay, so now they're telling them to charge in, which is absolutely fine because they will just get absolutely murdered. Hello and welcome back to the Sturgian Viking series. And, well, when we left off, we were in a vastly different location, weren't we? Yes, we were in Aserai territory, and I was continuing to look around for vassals to fight, and indeed try to execute them as much as I possibly can. However, I couldn't find any. And I don't know why, to be honest, because if you take a look at the Aserai right now, you can see that there's actually still quite a few remaining. I'm not entirely sure. It could just be that each of these clans has one member left. And that seems to be the case, actually. This is the only member of this particular clan still remaining. What do we have next up? There are two. Tariq, for example, he is certainly someone that we want to eliminate as soon as possible. He's going to have a very large army capacity because he is part of a tier 6 clan. And then we do have a number of other people as well in this one. We only have one. Yes, we only have one in this one. So there's literally, what can we see here so far? We have about 6 vassals so far, I think. Oh, there's Kareth. Yeah, of course. Kareth is actually a part of a tier 3 clan. That's a little bit weird in my opinion. I've always felt like he is much better than he actually is. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. But anyway, I decided, hey, you know what? Let's have a little bit of change of scenery here, and I've done a little bit of off-screen stuff. I haven't done anything amazing. Were you thinking that when I zoomed out here, that everything was going to be taken, and I was just going to be like, you know, I did a little bit. I did like 5 minutes off-screen, and I just took all this stuff. No. The one thing that I did do is I took Lanark Hen Castle, and, well, I wasn't on the voting screen, so obviously I couldn't give it to myself. I don't really want a castle anyway, but I was basically just taking it for the sake of taking it because I thought, hey, you know what, let's just take it, see what happens. I took down the walls with trebuchets. Took me an extremely long period of time, actually. Oh, yeah, I think I also took another one. Yes, I took Hertogia Castle. I called for an army, and we took that with an auto-resolve. I lost about 50 or so units myself personally, and a lot of our vassals lost a lot of units as well. But that is actually not that bad, if you think about it, because we are so close to our own territory. I can very quickly go back to Lagata, I can go to Maranath, I can go to Pencannock and Sionon, and I can just bring out units from there. So this is my new army composition as well. You can see here that my Huskarl, yeah, it's kind of disappointing really, because I was actually having a lot of fun running around with a huge amount of Huskarls, but I've run out of those pretty much almost. As I said before, I have about, I think, 50, 60 remaining. I'm not entirely sure on the exact numbers. Maybe I have a couple of lower tier versions of the Varyag troop line, which would be quite cool to get. But you can see here that I've gone a little bit more cavalry heavy. I have some Sturgian light cavalry here, some mounted Druzniks, which is pretty good, but there's only 10 of them, so they're not going to be that effective. But I did find a pretty significant amount of Imperial Elite Cataphracts in... where was it now? In Lagata and in... what's that other one? Rote, I think? In Rote? I think I own both of those. And then I also found a couple more Marauders in some other places, but that was pretty much it. And so that's what I've done off screen. Nothing to really write home about a great deal. But the one thing that I would love to do in this particular episode is try to find Mr. Perrick, because he is a betrayer of ours, and try to find Popelia, who is also a betrayer of ours, and we'll see if we can maybe hunt them down and try to murder them. Yes, and we also have a last woman standing, shall we say, in this particular clan. And we have another last woman standing in this clan as well. So the Khuzait do appear to be rather powerless, which is actually really funny, because if you take a look at their combat strength, they are far and away the best faction in the game right now. However, I think, you know what? I actually think that we are almost done. I think we are literally almost done with the game, and this campaign is nearing its conclusion, because if you think about it, it's just a case of literally killing garrisons and taking the castles, and that's pretty much it. So it's kind of amazing, is it not? Yes, I feel like it is. Considering that's the execution style of doing things, you know, that is the execution style of doing things. If I were to do it persuasion style, then it would be a slightly different course of action. Obviously, if I were to persuade, then I would be persuading people to join me and then just crossing my fingers that they wouldn't betray me in the end to someone else. I mean, considering the fact that we have such a significant amount of power and combat strength as a faction, it's very strange to me that vassals that join us are then just going to, you know, get up and leave, pretty much. And I don't know why that happens, to be honest. I don't know what the particular formula is for these vassals to make their decisions. And I suppose as time goes on, as people find out more and more about the game and the AI's own algorithms and how they think, it's going to make a huge difference to various strategies in regards to how you can keep them around. Maybe you're just not even going to be able to keep them around. Maybe it's going to be a constantly fluctuating mass of, well, terrible betrayals here and there and everywhere. But the Sturgians are still doing perfectly fine. I have not seen anyone be killed, so that's obviously pretty fantastic. I should mention, by the way, though, that at that other castle, Hitogia Castle, there were 4 ballistas on the walls there, and those ballistas gave me so much of a headache attempting to, you know, take the castle initially, that it really made things basically, I would say, almost impossible, actually. Almost impossible. They destroyed almost 2 waves of trebuchets. I actually had to rebuild my trebuchets almost 2 times over, and I could not believe it. I really could not believe it, but that just shows the power of the ballista. And I was able to build my trebuchets again and again relatively quickly because I did have an army. Because, of course, when you have more people, the engineering skill seems to stack. So, in my opinion, I'd highly recommend, if you do have an army or you have the potential to call for one, to do some sieges rather than try to hunt down enemy armies and stuff like that. Because even though it may be tempting to fight a really, really large army, which in my opinion is really fun as well, it is probably a better idea to put that strength towards taking a castle or even a town if you want to. But you can see exactly what I mean about this. These trebuchets right here, they will most likely succeed at destroying these ballistas, at least at first, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to. Oh no, it seems like they're actually, what? This is a bit weird. It didn't go like that before. I think my trebuchets just got super unlucky at that previous castle. That's probably the case. But anyway, what I would like to also show you is my tactics skill as well. My tactics skill has leveled up, just purely for the fact that we had one of those auto-resolves. As I said, I auto-resolved at Hitogia Castle, and you can see here it decreases disorganized state duration by 50%. I don't think this works at the moment, at least in my version, so while it is a fantastic perk and certainly something you want to try and aim for, it's not something that is really going to help me out that much. Anyway, we're going to get a prosperity bonus, even though I think that does work, actually, because medicine is, I think, probably mostly implemented. And someone actually mentioned this red number right here. I just want to touch upon this real quick. I just want to explain exactly what's going on here. So you see this red number, right? This red number, you know what it means? It means the learning limit has been reached completely. It means there is no learning rate going on whatsoever, because I don't have any additional focus points in it. And you can even see a breakdown by mousing over the learning rate itself. So you can see here that I have a base, a social, and a skill focus. So in other words, you know, the skill point itself being included in the calculation. But because my leadership skill has exceeded all of these bonuses by such a significant amount, it's showing in red. It's basically going, hey, can you put some focus points in this skill? That's what the game is saying to me right now. Now, the reason why scouting and smithing are not that way, even though I have very few amounts of points in them, and even cunning, as you can see, is not even maxed out in comparison to my social attribute. You can see here, scouting has a learning rate of 0.15. So as soon as this hits 0, this skill will also be in a sort of darker orange / red color. And it's the same thing with smithing as well, with the learning rate is 1.02. There are no other skills here that are at 0, and that's exactly the reason why leadership is in that orangey red color. So I just thought I'd explain that because I got a comment and I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to explain that a little bit more in depth because I already replied to it, but I just wanted to explain it a little bit more. So, but you know, more people gaining more knowledge about the game, that just means they're going to enjoy it more, right? I mean, that's how it should be, at least anyway. They might, oh no, never mind. I was going to say they might start mounting a little bit of a defense here because if they can, look at this. They're building their ballistas so fast that we can barely kill one before the next one is constructed. And that's the reason why we were having so many difficulties at Hertogia Castle. And I just can't believe it, to be honest. It was really quite crazy how fast they can build those. And I did a little bit of experimenting as well. Oh, we're going to make peace with Britannia. Oh, okay. Well, sure. I don't mind. It's not really making any difference to me. I mean, we took one of their castles already, so I suppose we've gained a little bit from it, at the very least. But anyway, I did a little bit of experimenting myself at Lanark Hen Castle. I decided that what I was going to do, because there were primarily catapults on the walls, I thought, hey, I'm going to try out ballistas in an offensive manner. And I thought, wow, that's probably going to be a really cool combination, isn't it? Because the ballistas are going to be able to eliminate the catapults super, super fast, and they're not going to... they're going to be very easy to replace, and they're pretty cheap in regards of, troop cost as well, because obviously, as you know, if you've been watching me for a while, or you've watched a siege, then you'll know that every single time a piece of siege equipment gets destroyed, a certain amount of troops are also lost beside it. Because, of course, there are troops manning these things. They're actually manning them in sort of void space, I guess you could call it. Because technically, obviously, you can't see them on the world map, but they are there. And did they... What? Did you see that? Huge amounts of Crusade heavy horse archers were literally just killed. I'm not entirely sure by what. I know actually someone said in the comments a while ago that the reason why that happens is I believe they either fall off from a very high height, and they just basically break their legs or whatever. I actually don't know. Or they drop a stone on themselves. And that might actually be the case because, well, there are stones available for them to throw at the opponent, which is in this case us. But some of the time there's some weird stuff that goes on. I have no idea really, but yeah, that is always amusing when that kind of thing happens. Oh, nice crush through as well. Yes, I like the crush through. Let's do it. Nice. Unfortunately, it seems like we're not even getting that much damage, to be honest. Even though we get a crush through, obviously, you've got to bear in mind that these crush throughs are only going to be as effective as the shield and the absorption of their armor allows, and how much force we have behind the strike itself as well. Now, bear in mind that this is one of those castles that has quite a lot of slowdown, so that's a bit unfortunate. But come on, let's get him. Oh dear. You know what? I'm gonna jump out. What? How did I not take any damage? How did I not take any damage from that? Was it because I think so. I literally landed on the slight incline of the wall. Did you see that? I think maybe you did. But yeah, I think that's what happened. I landed on the slight incline of the wall. Let me actually see if I can just show you that real quick. You see how the wall is slightly inclined right here? I think I landed on this section just there at the corner. and that prevented me from taking damage because maybe the wall is not counted as a fall damage thing. I'm not entirely sure, but that was actually crazy. It wasn't counted as like a piece of environment that can actually deal damage to the character in regards to, you know, their velocity falling down and so on. But that is amazing. So if that is indeed the case, then we might be able to take advantage of that in the future if we have a situation where we need to jump out. But obviously that was a very, very lucky landing, and certainly not something that I would be very easily able to replicate. Oh, we're behind them. Let's do this. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. Oh yes, we're going to charge at the archers. Oh, here we go, here we go. They're not going to kill me anytime soon, he says as he gets shot in the face in the next 5 seconds. Maybe. No, I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Yes. Kill them. Kill them all. Oh, oh, it's working. No. No, don't block that way. Block overhead, you imbecile. There we are. Oh, nice. Oh, no, he murdered me with 10 damage. Ah, well, never mind. That is fine. I was fully expecting to get taken out there. I was having a lot of fun just literally charging at them with reckless abandon because, again, I don't really like hiding behind walls and stuff like that unless I have no other option. Of course, then of course I'm going to do that to try and survive as much as I possibly can. But I find it super fun to have those kinds of situations where you're basically up against, well, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 units by yourself, and if you can make a decent stand, I think that is some of the most fun you can have in a game like this. You know, being against the odds and trying to overcome those odds is really enjoyable to me, at least. And there you go. Hopefully this guy is going to take revenge for me. He chambered that? Are you serious? Come on now. Yes. Oh, that was a that was a brutal thrust there by that Sturgian. Is that a Sturgian? I actually have no idea. I think that's an Imperial Manavlion or whatever they're called. But yeah, I think that's an Imperial infantry unit at the moment. But yeah, there you go. That is indeed a victory for us at Urukskala Castle. I was actually hoping that maybe we could bring one of the enemy vassals out of hiding, but it seems to me like they are probably acting as a bit of like phantom ghost vassal clan thing. You know that thing that I explained in the previous episode where they're basically just in the game, but they're not in the game. At least not at the moment, at least. I'm not entirely sure why that would happen or whatever, but it seems to be sometimes the case where you can't really interact with them. Not entirely sure. Let me actually just see whether that is indeed the case still. So let me see. Last seen at Tile today. Oh, she might be a prisoner because we have the town. We actually have the town. Oh, that's actually kind of amazing. I did not realize that. Anyway, we'll just give that to him, I suppose. And oh yes, I actually did dedicate quite a lot of influence to Mr. Desporion here, and I don't know whether he still has a decent amount of it. Where is he, by the way? Where is Desporion? There he is. Yeah, he has 240 now. I gave him about 500 influence because I literally just wanted to increase his relation with us, and that seems to have worked somewhat. He still has negative 12, of course, because he had minus 100, and I kind of wanted to make a dent in that, but yeah, it took me down to about 5,000 influence, and I've now gone back up to 9,000, so it's pretty crazy how fast you can gain influence. But otherwise, we're just going to be giving a whole bunch of influence to Mr. Vidar here because I would like him to have an insane amount so that he can basically do whatever he wants to do. And otherwise, let's have a look. Go to the dungeon. Yes, they do have a number of prisoners here, as you can quite clearly tell. Who put these in here, though? This is the thing. Who put these in here? Because I certainly didn't. So I guess what we're going to do is we're just going to take all of these out. I can't take this guy out, hilariously enough, as you can see. Not entirely sure why that is not possible, but I guess we can just execute. I can't even execute this guy, as you can see. A bit weird. I know someone said that I just have to reload the game, but that actually has not worked for me in the past, so not sure how that can work, but oh well, never mind. Let's just execute every single person we can get our hands on right here. We have a bunch of clans being eliminated here as well, and I would love to be able to execute this guy, but it doesn't seem like I will be able to at the moment. Alright, so let's take a brief look at some of our other friends here. Peric is actually still alive. Where's he? He's at Epicrotia, so he's actually a prisoner at Epicrotia, because of course that is our town. So let's go down there and see what's happening. Look at this. That is what I've run into. Very good. Okay, so we are probably going to be just attacking them straight up. I do actually still have 50 wounded, so I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest. You can see also, by the way, that my daily gold intake is just insane. Like, there's nothing much I can really do now to lose money. I could literally give this particular person 10 million and still have 2 million remaining. I mean, it's just absolute insanity. Can you imagine having that much in real life? I cannot. I cannot. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. Anyway, let's see if we can maybe murder every single... Oh, see now that... You know, I'm super eager to get in here. I'm super eager to go in, but I just see my HP down here and I'm like, oh, I'm at 75%. You know, it's probably not particularly good. But I do want a large battle. I'd love to be able to have a large battle right now. I think it's a lot of fun to do that. So let's do it. Why not? 82%. Yes, 82%. Okay, so actually, you know what? I'm going to have a look. Okay. Yeah, they still have a bunch of nobles that are still alive. But let me just take a quick... Really? The Northern Empire only has 3 clans? That is interesting. Very interesting indeed. Okay, well, let's just go in and attack. Technically, I could probably auto-resolve here and probably not sustain too many casualties. But as I said, I kind of wanted to get in a field battle here, because this might very well be one of the final episodes of this series. So I'd like to have a little bit of fun with our character here before we potentially say farewell. Because, well, as I said before, if all of the vassals are no longer capable of fielding armies because they just literally have nothing left, they might have a lot of money, but if they don't have the troops and they don't have the additional vassals, then they can't really do much. And that's also the reason why I said in the previous episode that executing is, as I say, probably the most... how dare you? I was thinking to myself, I would say, how dare you, and then slash him and get a nice kill, but no. Apparently that did not work. That worked. Very good. Okay, so apparently that did not work is the phrase of the day. That is the phrase I must use to attain kills. Anyway, let's just tell our cavalry to charge in. We do have quite a few of these guys. A number of them are from all kinds of different places. We have Landian Banner Knights, we've got Imperial Cataphracts, we have Sturgian Cavalry, we have, I think that's actually it. I think I have 1 Mamluk or something like that. I think that's pretty much it. But let's move my archers. I actually have 93 archers? Where did they come from? I have no idea. I have less infantry than pretty much anything else. That is rather amusing. Alright, well, I've got my shield out. Let's see if we can maybe do something here with it. Maybe try to defend. We did some good damage. Did some good damage, but unfortunately, because he had the shield on his back, it was capable of blocking the last remaining little bit of damage that we would have needed to get the kill. But that's fine, because that's the one thing that I actually really appreciate. If I have to choose one thing about Bannerlord's changes, it's the fact that the player character does not need to get kills to level up. I think that that is a fantastic change, because obviously in Warband and the various other Mount and Blade games, you needed to get a killing blow on an enemy unit to be able to acquire experience. And in my opinion, that was kind of unfair. I feel like it was kind of unfair. It made things very, very difficult at some times, you know, because sometimes you wouldn't really be able to get into the battle as you would otherwise want to, and you would basically get almost 0 experience from that engagement. which is sad. I don't think that's how it should be. I think if you participate in the battle, you should gain some kind of benefit, even if it is just a small one. And that's exactly the reason why I very much appreciate the way that they've done things in this one, where you can pretty much just go into a battle, and if you get a kill, then great, and if you don't get a kill, then maybe you have a chance of gaining a little bit of skill here and there. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I believe I actually did say something like that a while ago, where I basically said if you do damage to an opponent, then if you are still using experience points rather than doing the whole Oblivion, Skyrim kind of thing where you use a skill and then it gets better over time, rather than using that system, then if you get some damage on an opponent, you get partial experience. So if you do 90% of the damage to a particular enemy, then you get 90% of the experience total that that unit would have given you otherwise, which I think is a pretty cool system, you know, to be honest. But well, they went a little bit of a different direction, which I think is perfectly fine. I think it's great because, as I say, it really makes everything much, much better in terms of making the player feel like they are advancing in the game. You don't want to feel like you're stagnating at all, and you don't want to be like, look at that, I need to get into a battle to be able to level up this one skill that I really need to be able to be effective in battle. You know what I mean? It's literally like it's like I don't know, a job application or something where you literally go, okay, so I have no experience in this one area, but they require 3 years experience in this one area. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle, and that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about here. But thankfully, that's not the case. So you can pretty much do whatever you like, and it's great. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so do we have any people that have leveled up? Because I know that a couple of people did say in the comments that I was forgetting to level people up, and that's exactly what happens if you run around with high-tier units all the time. You forget that you will eventually need to level up some people and upgrade them and so on. But there you go. The Northern Empire has now lost 2 additional vassals, and, well, there's, I don't think, that much more that I will be able to fight. Let's take a quick overview, shall we? Let's take a quick overview of everyone. So these guys, as we've seen, they have about 6 to 7, maybe even 8 vassals total. And obviously before they had many, many more. Britannia is basically done. They just have 1, 2, I don't know where they are. They're at Dunglanis? And Dunglanis. Oh, so they're prisoners, by the looks of things. And she is at Onika Castle, so she's also a prisoner. What do you bet? Okay, so let me... Onika Castle? Where is that? Onika... I actually have no idea where that is, but I'm going to go to Dunglanis and we'll see who is in the prisoner's hold there, because it might very well be that we'll find a whole bunch like we did in Tile's dungeon. I'm not entirely sure why they even put them in there. So far away. Alright, so I'm actually at Dunglanis, and as you can see, there are no prisoners here, so I assume that they have either escaped or they are somewhere else. Last seen near Onika Castle, right? Where's the other one? No, last seen at Dunglanis. I don't know. I mean, I'm right here, as you can quite clearly tell. Are they inside? Are they in the Lord's Hall, or are they here? No, they don't. Are they in the tavern? No. Okay, so they're not in the tavern, they're not in the keep. I have no idea where they are. That's a bit of a ghostly situation going on by the looks of things. Alright, well, that's fine. But yeah, okay, so we've taken a look at the Britannians. Let's have a look at... we've looked at the Crusade, Northern Empire, we've looked at them a little bit. They have about 1 or 2 vassals remaining. Southern Empire actually has a pretty significant amount still. However, again, they're probably going to be pretty much, I think they're pretty much done. Sturgia is doing absolutely fine. As you can see, none of their clans have been eliminated, which is really nice to see, because this entire series was based around making sure that Sturgia does not get eliminated in the first, I don't know, 5 episodes of a series, because that's what's happened in previous times. You can see Vlandia is completely done. Western Empire still only has a couple of... Oh, Garrios is actually still alive. Oh, interesting. Where is Garrios? Neochorus? Where is that? It's all the way over here. Ah, very well. That makes sense, doesn't it? Ah, what do I spot on the horizon? It seems to be someone from the Southern Empire running around with an army of some pretty strong units, as you can see. Not too bad. They have... they do have 82 recruits. Well, the 82 recruits are obviously going to be somewhat of a bit of a problem for them. But that's not my problem, is it? No, it is not my problem at all. We will be murdering them now. This is one of the maps that I am not too big a fan of because it generally tends to reduce the visibility of a commander by quite a significant amount. So I really don't know where I'm going to place my units and everything. Let's put them in shield wall for the moment. Place them over here behind this hill. Try and use the environment to our advantage a little bit, as we've done in previous episodes as well. When there is an opportunity to do so, I will try to use the environment, of course, but sometimes that's just not the case, and or we just want to be hyper aggressive. And then if you want to be hyper aggressive, you can't really be hiding behind anything. So let's see if we can maybe take out a couple of these outlying skirmishers. Ah, he blocked. Ooh, now this is actually pretty good. Look at this. I would actually really appreciate it if the opponent would not know how many units you've brought onto the battlefield until you gain some kind of scouting information. I think that would be very cool. Same thing for the player as well. I don't want it to be just one-sided, of course, but it would be very, very immersive if you could have certain types of units, you know, otherwise known as scouts or skirmishers or something along those lines, that would literally have the purpose of going out and being like, hey, they've got blah 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 amounts of units over on the west flank or something along those lines. That would be pretty cool, because then you could, you know, maybe add a marker to them then, and then it would be just that much more immersive, because at the moment I can basically just hold Alt and then I could be like, oh, okay, they're over there, you know. And that's absolutely fine, because I think it's very usable, very viable. You don't really want to be running around in the dark, not really knowing what's going on, but it could be an option. Maybe it's an option that you can turn on or something like that, where you actually start utilizing scouts and things. Anyway, let's move my archers a little bit forward here. They're going into a circular formation. Very interesting to see that, because I don't think again, I haven't shown my cavalry to be that nearby, so them going into a circular formation ahead of schedule is kind of a bit strange, but I suppose if they place their ranged units inside the circle, then it is just as effective for defending against infantry. But what are they actually doing right now? Okay. Do they not have any ranged units to fight us with? If they don't have any ranged units, this is going to be absolutely hilarious. Okay, I guess I'm just going to throw some little axes at people's legs, apparently. And, well, there you go. That is actually funny. Okay, I have no idea what are they doing. This is super hilarious. Okay, well, whatever the case, let's move my cavalry into a certain position here. The AI is not showing itself to be that smart at the moment. Okay, so now they're telling them to charge in, which is absolutely fine, because they will just get absolutely murdered. Oh yes, the murdering will now commence. And I will bring out my massive two-handed axe and do good damage, not really killing anything too much. Oh yeah, there we go. Get in there. Get in there. Do the good damages. Yes, that's what we like. Oh yeah. Any single time that we get a really nice slash in like an upper region of the torso, or on a head or on a neck or something like that, I'm always like, oh yeah, that was some nice damage. And we can see that, you can kind of feel it if you're playing. You could feel the impact of the hit. And that's what, in my opinion, that's what Warband was missing some of the time with certain weapons. That's the reason why I absolutely love the Bardiche. Because the Bardiche in Warband, and obviously most two-handeds in this game as well, had a lot of impact to it, at least in my opinion. I feel like it always had a good amount of impact, and it was a lot of fun to use, very satisfying weapon to use. But there you go. That is, in my opinion, the end of this particular battle. Oh, look at this. Okay, so it seems like Sylvina has died in this battle, and you can see here that she was the last remaining clan member, and that has now resulted in the entire clan being lost, which, again, as I mentioned in the previous episode, we talked about that. You can watch the previous episode if you want to hear my thoughts on it. Anyway, let's just take the loot, and we will then... did I not get to take these guys prisoner? Okay, now I get to take them prisoner. What? Okay, that's a bit weird. I'm not entirely sure why I would need to engage them again, but okay, apparently I needed to. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so otherwise we're going to be murdering both of these. There we are. And there we are. Okay, fantastic. Good, good, good. All right, so I would like to be able to find Mr. Garrios. If I can find Mr. Garrios, I will be extremely pleased, because generally I would say that even though I don't really know the inner workings of how the AI works when it comes to losing a king or a queen, or their leader, in other words, I'm not really sure what they decide on, or whether it makes a difference to how effective their leadership structure is, because it might very well be quite a significant blow, because if the leader has a lot of good relation with everyone in that faction, and then that leader gets killed, and then their second in command takes over, and that second in command doesn't have such good relation with them, then it might very well cause a cascade effect where everyone starts defecting, which would be fantastic. That would be a very cool way to go, because that would mean that there's actually some kind of consequence from executing these guys, which would be nice. That would be very nice. There's Oni Castle, by the way, and we might be able to... Aha! Hello there. Oh, you're actually... yeah, okay, wait. Let's have a look here. This is actually perfect, because I should be able to trade for... Yes, I can trade for Onika Castle here. This is so simple. Look at that. Yep. I'm perfectly happy to take that. Thank you very much. And I don't even need to kill you, technically, I suppose. Do I? Not really. So generally, if there is a peace agreement, and you have everything has a price... There's Garrios! Oh no, he went inside. Ah, never mind. Anyway, as I was saying, if you have a peace agreement and you have enough money and you have everything has a price, it's highly recommended to go and speak to these guys and get them to trade you their stuff. And we're just going to auto-resolve against Mr. Garrios here, get him taken prisoner, and we're just going to execute him straight away. There we go. So who has been elected? Ah, Tynops. Tynops has been elected as the new ruler. As far as I'm aware, in my opinion, Tynops is not that good. So maybe he'll lead the Western Empire into... Oh, what actually happened right there? Oh, it changed the banners. Okay, of course. It changed. It was a bit weird, because I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. That's not the color of the Western Empire. That's the color of the Northern, or the Southern. Yeah, the Northern, actually. Tynops, I believe, is a northern vassal that has defected to the Western Empire, and that's the reason why I was a bit confused. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for this episode. If you enjoyed the video, then please leave a like. Otherwise, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.